So here's what we're going to do. Linda Spencer is in charge of keeping the time. Every candidate is allotted 3 minutes each. And it will be right on the minute. So we will have a little bit of time afterwards for some questions. So let's try to move this along swiftly so we can get to that point. At this time, I'm going to start with Judge Robert Richardson, who's running for re-election for circuit judge. You can come right up here, sir.
Well, thank you. My name is Bob Richardson. It's been my honor for the last 10 years to serve as your circuit judge. In what is now the 11th judicial circuit, will become the 29th division circuit. I am running for re-election. I'm running on my record. I'm running on the record of what we've accomplished in the last 10 years. Without a first street judge, in 2014, we had a huge backlog of cases in the circuit court, particularly in the division of the circuit court where I was seated. At that time, on the day I took the oath of office, more than 600 pending cases before me. By way of comparison, my colleague at the time, Judge Jim Rowe, had about 330 cases pending before him. So I got to work. I began hearing those cases, resolving, listening to the people, their attorneys, and the situations. And within a couple of years, we had that down to 400. Since then, I've continued to work. And even though there are new cases filed every day, as of the end of last month, my case log was down to 300 cases. Well, what's important about that are 2 things. First, the reason that those cases are resolved aren't because they were rushed through. Resolved because someone listened to the parties, moved the cases along in a reasonable procedure to advance the cause of justice in our community. The second thing that's important I want to share with you. So it was important to be able to do that, have experience in all of the areas where circuit judges hear cases. Before becoming a judge, I practiced law for 27 years. During that time, most of my clients were your neighbors. Some of you have represented individuals and small businesses in Greenbrier, and surrounding county. And I handled all areas of law. Did real estate work, real estate transactions and disputes, estate planning, will contests, criminal cases, juvenile cases, adoptions, abuse and neglect cases, juvenile cases, I may have said that, across the board. And because of that, I had a firm foundation and an understanding of the procedures used in each of those cases, and was able to move them forward toward a resolution. In the 10 years that I've served as judge, I've added to that experience. And I would very much appreciate your support, your vote, as the experienced candidate for this position. It's not a place to learn new areas of law. It's a place to apply the law in a fair, balanced way and to promote respect for the rule of law in our community. I'd like to take time to tell you about my family, about my community involvement and so forth. But I recognize we've got a lot of people who want to hear from me. My time is undoubtedly running very short. So if you want to talk about any of those things, I'll be around afterward. If you want to ask me about my time as a WML leader, I'm glad to talk about that too. Anything else, but thank you for your
Ryan Blake, who is running also for the position of circuit judge.
Thank you. As he introduced me, I am Ryan Blake, and I'm a judicial candidate for Greenbrier and Pocahontas counties. A little bit about my personal background. I grew up in Greenbrier County. I'm the son of Ralph and Brenda Blake. I attended Greenbrier East High School. Following that, I enrolled at Bridgewater College in Virginia, and I went to law school at Penn State University, where I graduated in 2005. I live in Lewisburg with my amazing wife, Heather. We are raising 3 young boys, Andrew, Brant, and John, and we are heavily involved in our community. From school events to youth sports, the civic organizations that my kids and my wife and I belong to, as well as, most importantly, our church. A little bit about my work background. I first started in the practice of law as a judicial law clerk for Judge Frank Jolliffe, and when he retired, Judge Joseph Pompone. In that area, I was able to be involved in the courtroom almost daily, to have a collegial atmosphere with the other attorneys and the judges, to conduct legal research, and to draft judicial orders. That experience provided me not only with an ability to learn what a judge does on a daily basis and how a judge is supposed to act, but it also provided me with a sense of respect and admiration for the role that a judge plays in both the system as well as our society. I left that position in 2007. I went to work for the Greenbrier County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, principally for my good friend and mentor, Patrick Pye. As an assistant prosecuting attorney, I have handled thousands of misdemeanor and felony cases. I have assisted with matters involving the abuse and neglect of our children. And I have been a municipal prosecutor for several cities. I've also helped in spearheading the creation of the Southeastern Regional Drug Court, a program which I'm still involved with as a treatment team. Most importantly for this position is
Time.
Bring this to us now.
Thank
We
you.
don't want more.
Now, the family court. Going to ask Grady Ford to come forward and speak to us.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I want to thank the chairman and the committee for inviting us all out here to be able to introduce ourselves to you all and to the nice Rupert Community building that we have. As been said, my name is Grady Ford. I'm running for family court judge in Greenbrier and Monroe counties. I'm a Greenbrier County boy through and through, born and raised. I went to Greenbrier East, spent 7 years in Morgantown for undergraduate law school, and then, like many baby lawyers do, spent 6 years in Charleston, first working for Greenbrier County native son, and as far as I'm concerned, Mount Rushmore of Greenbrier County lawyers, Bob King, who's a federal appeals court judge on the 4th Circuit, spent a couple of years working at Jackson Kelly, firm in Charleston, and then for the city of Charleston and Danny Jones' administration before moving back here to Lewisburg in 2015 with my wife Jocelyn, as we were expecting on our first child, 8-year-old Hazel. It's always been our plan to come home. There's no place that I'd rather live to raise a family, and by the time our family was on the way to growing, we knew it was time to come home. Since then, I've been practicing law with my dad, and for a brief period of time, my grandfather, Rich Ford's my father, Dick Ford's my grandfather, at the Ford Law Firm since 2015. And since then, I have done kind of diverse practice, but a very substantial portion of my practice has been in the family courts. And there's few things that any regular person is going to go through the judicial system that is closer to your heart and more serious than the stuff that goes on in family court. It's really often the most commonplace for regular people to go if you're not getting arrested or being involved in civil litigation or otherwise. You know, divorces and custody battles and those types of things are the types of things that people are most often to interact with the judicial system. And in my time period practicing here, I've been able to represent both mothers, fathers, husbands and wives, and a lot of times children serving as guardian ad litem, representing their interests. And I have come to see how incredibly important that role is, and how incredibly important it is to be able to diligently process cases and to open in order for the parties and allow the parties to be heard. And if given that opportunity, I certainly will ensure that all parties are entitled to an opportunity to be heard, and the law is fairly and unbiasedly applied to the facts, and not based on who you are or anything like that, but simply applying the law to the facts, which is all anybody ever could hope for. And I would just hope that, just express to you guys, one of the great things about local elections is that you can actually know who the candidates are. And if you don't know who the candidates are, you certainly can ask around and talk to your friends and family. And there you go. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to ask Ms. Kelly Kemp to come forward, also running for family court judge.
Thanks for having us. I am Kelly Kemp, and I'm running for family court judge for Greenbrier and Monroe counties. I truly believe that I am the most qualified candidate for the job. I've been practicing law for 33 years right here in this area, and most of that time has been spent in family court. I was in private practice for about 6 years, and I did divorce work and post-divorce work. And then for 28 years, I worked as the attorney for the Bureau for Child Support Enforcement. My time in the trenches, I think, has allowed me to gain knowledge and skills that are needed for this job. But I also think I have the temperament. A family court judge must be a careful listener when listening to the testimony of parties. And sometimes you even have to figure out if they're telling the truth. Because just because people put up their right hand and swear to tell the truth doesn't mean that they're always telling the truth. And I think that's it's a good thing for a judge to be able to figure that out. And also, at the end of a hearing, it's important to make clear findings of fact and clear rulings that can be reduced to a concise, well-written order that the parties can understand. I think the family court judge should encourage the parties to, when I say the parties, I mean, usually I'm talking about people getting divorced, to work things out. Probably, sometimes they can't, sometimes they can. Negotiate an agreement for child custody, child support, and so forth. If they can't, then the judge has to make tough decisions, and that I think they have to always put the children's needs first. The best interest of the child is most important. The job requires strength, toughness, but also compassion and understanding for what people that come before you are going through. Keep in mind that about 80% of the people that come before the family court come pro se, without lawyers. And they are nervous and anxious, and they need to be treated with dignity and respect. And I intend to do that. I believe in hard work. I've worked hard all my life. I'm working hard right now to get elected. I will work hard for you as family court judge. And I am Kelly Kemp, candidate for family court judge.
2 minutes and 58 seconds. I'm going to speak on behalf of Kim Johnson. She cannot be here tonight. Family member, very ill. Kim has served as magistrate now. This is, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, this would be her third term, correct? This would be her third term. She is running unopposed. She's been a very good friend to me. That's all I'm going to say to that. So Kim is a wonderful person. We're very blessed to have her as magistrate. Now I'm going to ask Tim Stover, also running unopposed, but we don't care. Let you talk anyway, as long as it's under 3 minutes.
As been said, I'm Tim Stowe, and just to give you a little bit of background of my life, I'm a 1979 graduate of Greenbrier East. I've got a criminal justice degree from Bluefield State College. I retired in 2019 as chief of police at Lewisburg. Very rewarding career, and I wouldn't have, I do it tomorrow for free. I been married to my wife Tina for 41 years, and yes, it's hard to believe that she put up with me for that long. But she's a wonderful woman. We have 2 kids, Caitlin and Jacob. Caitlin's our daughter. She's an RN down at the federal prison. Jacob was just hired with the U.S. Marshals Service. He starts training next week. Very proud of them. They've given us 2 beautiful, coolest grandkids in the world, Addie and Harwood. In 2020, I ran for magistrate because I thought my background, my experience, my education would fit the job well. And I always had a dream to run for office. And the good people of this county voted for me and put me in office. And as Ben said, I'm running unopposed, and people have asked me, why are you going to these events? Why are you going to put signs up and stuff? But I think it's important that, I give back to the people again, or hopefully I guess if I vote for myself, I'm in, right? But, I just want to show my appreciation and for your past support and ask for it again for the future. So thank you very much.
Kirby Hansen, also running for magistrate, could not be here tonight either. Now for the last of the nonpartisan positions, I am going to first start by mentioning that Dr. Mina Botros, oh yeah, you're nonpartisan now.
I am.
You are nonpartisan. Come on, Mr. Nonpartisan. Pat Vine is also running for the other circuit judge position.
This is the first time I have run as a nonpartisan, but I am. Pat Vine, I'm running for circuit judge. Division 2, just so everyone knows, there are 2 divisions. Mr. Blake and Jeff Richardson is running in Division 1. I'm running unopposed in Division 2. But I feel similarly to Tim, running unopposed should not be a reason not to answer to the public and to appear at events like this, and I have every intention of doing that. I want to thank the executive committee for hosting this. I've had a lot of discussions with people about, what's the turnout going to be? Everybody, big turnout, low turnout, what's it going to be? Well, tonight's an indication of a February candidates forum. For voter turnout in May, I'm projecting high, just based on what I'm seeing here tonight. I've been prosecutor now for 15 years. I'm in my 16th year. I look forward to the new challenge. I feel qualified to do the job. I assure you that I will do the best job that I can do. And I look forward to doing a good job and continuing in public service, serving as a judge. I've done about all there is to do in the practice of law, especially in Greenbrier County. 15 years before I became prosecutor, and 15 since. I'm in year 31. And I want to thank everyone in here for your previous support. Most of you know me, and I know most of you back when I was a partisan, right? But I do appreciate all your support over the years, and I really look forward to answering questions and attending to the questions you may have of me, despite being unopposed. And I thank you very much. Election day is May 14th. I want to thank my wife for being here with me. She's followed me around to these things for 16 years, and I appreciate that. The significance of May 14th is she will either have the blessing or the curse of saying that she will have been married to me for 30 years on May 14th, 2024. So, with that, she's here with me tonight, and I thank her for that. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you for that. I apologize. Okay. Board of Education, I want to speak on 2 elements. Dr. Mina Botros is sick. He could not come here tonight. Also, I will speak on Bobby McClintock. senior, also running unopposed. I'm the one, I have to admit, who convinced him to run. Bobby is a Christian man. He is a long-time educator in Greenbrier County, knows the system in and out, and I'm really excited to see what he can do in the Board of Education. I think he'll be a team player, and I think he's somebody that can bring some good ideas to the table. Also, we have one Board of Education candidate with us here tonight, current member of the Board of Education, Miss Mary Humphreys from the Central District.
I'm running for re-election. I've served 2 terms, and this would be my 3rd term if you see fit to elect me. I just wanted to give a little bit about my background for those of you who may not know me. I am from Greenbrier County. I'm a native Greenbrier County girl. Public school. I was raised on a farm in Gordon Cave. My husband, who's with me, he went to public school. He's a Greenbrier County native. My daughter went to public school. And in addition to all that, I was a teacher for 39 years. So I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge, and plus my experience being on the board, I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge about what is best for the children. That's the main goal of serving on the Board of Education is for children. I'm a child advocate and I'm worried about our children. And so, and of course I would also be interested in defend staff and have very interested at heart. And I also feel like I'm a good steward of finance, which is always a problem. And I just wanted to mention a few of our accomplishments that we have achieved since I've been on the board. And these are just a few. We have new football fields at Greenbrier West and Greenbrier East. I'm real proud of those, and they're so pretty. We are renovating Alderson High School into Alderson Elementary School. And it's going to be a beautiful school. Very, I don't know, Mr. Amber, we've been down there, but it's going to be nice. Very proud, we have a partnership with the Aquatic Center, teaching our 6th graders swimming skills. So we're very proud of that. And that's exciting to see those kids. I'm there for aerobics, so I see those kids, and it's really exciting. We've constructed Rupert Elementary School, and we have just secured funds for renovations of Frankfurt Elementary School. So those are just a few of the accomplishments. In my spare time, I do like to deliver meals for Shepherd Center, and I served on the Lewisburg United Methodist Church Snacks and Pies program. So I appreciate your support.
Are there any other nonpartisan candidates? I'm going to start with one unopposed. You just knew it, didn't you? Okay. Nicole Graybeal is running for prosecutor of Greenbrier County.
I'm going to stand up just my back up to you all. I'm Nicole Graybill. I'm originally from Shady Spring, now a resident of Lewisburg. I attended West Virginia University where I got my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I then followed that with attending WVU for law school where I was able to participate in the Veterans Law Clinic and studying international trade law in Switzerland. Following that, I returned home with a strong desire to be a part of my local community, and I was able to partner with the Veterans Law Clinic that I was in and receive a fellowship to provide free legal services to the veterans in the southern part of the state for a year. I was able to provide discharge upgrades and disability benefits, and following that, I was an assistant public defender here in Greenbrier County, primarily representing juveniles. Currently, I'm an assistant prosecuting attorney here in Greenbrier County. I've been in this role for about 4 years, where I've been able to either lead or assist in about all types of cases within the office. And my primary role in the office, and one that I find great passion in, is the cases involving abused and neglected children. I am also the city prosecutor in this town of Rupert and right now with the lovely Pendletons. So I look forward to continuing to serve and give back to this community. Thank you.
We'll move now to sheriff. I'm going to ask Bart Baker to come up, candidate for sheriff of Greenbrier County.
All right, I'm Bart Baker, running for sheriff. I was born and raised in Rossville, West Virginia, graduated Greenbrier East in 1990. Shortly after graduation, I joined the United States Air Force and was security police for 8 years. Traveled all over the world and all over the country, but I had to come home. Love Greenbrier County. Come back home, I served Department of Corrections for a couple of years and joined the Sheriff's Department in 2002. Worked my way up through the ranks of lieutenant and then got appointed chief deputy, which I'm currently serving. While at the Sheriff's Department, I've done everything you can do at the Sheriff's Department, still doing it. Wear many hats, work closely with the Family Refuge Center as a domestic violence resource officer. Actually got certified to train other officers to respond to domestic violence situations, and was on the state board to help write protocols for response to domestic violence from children present. Was pretty proud. I went around actually with Ms. Baker here and done that training statewide. I'm also been the commander of your SWAT team, and several other crimes against children, which was not my favorite thing to do, but had to be done. I care about our kids a lot. I currently work in the school systems. Have great partnership with Board Education. Plan to continue that. Work closely with them and maybe do some drug prevention type stuff in the schools. I think that the best way to fight this drug problem we have is to eliminate the customers. If we can keep our kids off dope, the dope will eat. Nobody's buying it and we can't sell it. Okay. I've watched the department grow in the last 21 years, leaps and bounds. Under the great leadership of Mr. Bruce Sloan back there, we have now a crime scene team that's second to none. These guys are out here working all the time, doing a phenomenal job for crime scenes, except to raise our conviction rates. We have a SWAT team that I've put against anybody in the state. We've got some young men coming up, young ladies too, that are doing a phenomenal job at tabs the weight off. We have some great investigators. We have accident reconstruction teams. We sent a couple of guys to learn how to fly drones that assist us with other calls. We're in your elementary schools now, working some shifts there, interacting with the children, which I think is a great thing. Things that matter to me most in this job is, one, protecting our community. And when I talk about protecting our community, I think we should protect the ones that are the most vulnerable, our children and our elders. I worked a lot of elder abuse cases in my time. We're seeing more and more of that, mostly from the drug problem. Thanks.
I will now, this is in alphabetical order, I am now going to ask Mr. Doug Beard to become candidate for sheriff.
Executive committee for allowing us to have this forum tonight. It's very important to get our message out. Like the newspapers, even we don't have a good opportunity. I am Doug Beard, running for the Republican candidate for sheriff and treasurer here in Greenbrier County, lifelong resident of Greenbrier County. I'm a graduate of West Virginia Corrections Academy, our law enforcement training center for the Bureau of Prisons, the West Virginia State Police Academy basic class, and numerous training sessions put on by the Supreme Court of Appeals here in West Virginia. The Sheriff's Department is different than other police agencies in that, in addition to general law enforcement duties, they bail of court, transport adult and juvenile prisoners, mental hygiene patients to facilities all over the state, serve process both criminal and civil. I have combined 36 years experience in corrections, law enforcement, and as magistrate. 9 of those years with the Sheriff's Department. During that tenure there with the sheriff's department, I did criminal investigations, bail of court, transported prisoners, mental hygiene patients, served every type of process. And my last year there, I was the chief deputy. In addition to that, the last 2.5 years, I've managed a small business whose annual income is $3.5 to $4 million. So the treasurer department goes there as being responsible, financial, fiscally responsible. Handling prisoners and hygiene patients correctly is very important for the safety of the public. My training and experience in corrections gives me the upper hand and valuable experience for the deputies in cases they're not sure about. If this is not done properly, delays court serving the process, and it wastes time if you don't get the paper served in a timely fashion. Not serving family violence protective orders and personal safety orders correctly and timely can be deadly. This delays the protection for the victim. My experience as magistrate, I have reviewed thousands of criminal complaints, and hundreds of affidavits of search warrants, and family violence protective orders and personal safety orders. So this allows me to be a valuable tool for the deputies to tap into should they be uncertain about some of their criminal complaints or something about a protective order or family violence protective order, personal safety order. As sheriff, I want to ensure to be the best coverage with patrols all over the county, including the outlying areas. I want to help to make this county a safe place to live and raise our families. I want to make sure the deputies have the best training and equipment to carry out their duties safely and effectively. And that the tax office deputies have the training and equipment to provide the best service to our citizens. As your next sheriff, I want to be a liaison, not just to the county commission, but to the other agencies we deal with on a regular basis. The courts, the other police agencies, the refuge center, prosecutor, probation offices, fire departments, etc. Law enforcement is usually not a individual sport per se, and it takes a team effort. So having a valuable thank you.
Now, another candidate for Sheriff of Greenbrier County, Mr. Mark Robinson.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me. I'm Mark Robinson. I live in Oregon Cave. I just have a different story. I'm running for sheriff. Probably no other sheriff candidates can say that he's been in jail multiple times. I ran for sheriff 6 years ago. I was in jail on election day, but I've done nothing. 4 times I've been put in jail, all for nonsense. These flyers are on this little table in the back. This is my family. My wife divorced me 7 years ago, and took me to family court. A lot of the people who are talking to you tonight have been players in my story. I didn't have a lawyer. My wife had the best lawyer in the county. No offense to any lawyers here. So I got burned. I lost my 7 kids. Great dad, no abuse ever. And she moved out of state, took my kids. I went looking for my kids, tripped wires, get put in jail in Virginia. Served more than a year in jail. This just briefly explains my story. This has my email address. This is a book that I've written with transcripts, records, dates, everything. You can search high and low for anything that I've ever done, and I can even prove it from my wife's own testimony. No abuse, period. I was a preacher at White Sulphur Presbyterian. I took all the photographs for all the sports at both high schools. I played keyboard at Bethesda, and I was the chaplain at the boys' home in Covington. To be the chaplain, you've got to have FBI clearance. They go back, search all of your background. So I could take a 10-year-old boy to town all day long, go to the doctor, go to the store, and then suddenly lost all my jobs, lost my reputation. I got hired a few months ago at the homestead playing piano, making $40 an hour. Somebody made a phone call. I got fired. I was doing great, but that's what follows you everywhere you go, because you get caught in the teeth of the system, and the system does not let you go, and the system cannot fix it. My kids love me dearly. They hate my guts now, because the whole system has poisoned them against me. So I never would have run for sheriff. I'd be happy to employ these two gentlemen because they know everything they're doing. But what I'll give you is a sheriff who believes in justice and in what's right. And if something comes across my desk and it doesn't smell right, I'm going to search it out and I'm going to follow it out. Anybody who's got kids, you know, you hate that. We've got an anonymous phone call that used such and such and such. And what are you going to do? I'm the guy who will be sure that the children are protected not only from the bad people. Nobody likes the bad people. I'm the guy who will be sure that the kids don't get chewed up by the system. Perfect time.
Okay, now moving on to County Commission. Commissioner Tincher could not be here tonight. I'm going to allow County Commissioner Phillips and Rose to speak for her. You each get a minute and a half. And so whoever would like to go first, that works just fine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tammy was unable to attend the meeting this evening due to death of a friend, and she has asked me if I would share some of her words and thoughts. So I'm going to be reading instead of looking up, so I apologize for that. Tammy is currently in her 6th year of the first term in office and would like to ask for your vote to continue to serve as Greenbrier County Commissioner, for a 2nd term. She has served daily since being elected and strived to educate herself on every aspect of Greenbrier County government and how it runs in order to serve the residents of Greenbrier County the best possible way. She currently serves as Vice Chair of the Greenbrier Valley Airport Authority, represents the Commission on the 4-H Extension Board, Convention and Visitors Bureau Board, Farmland Protection Board, and also regularly attends and participates in other board meetings, including Greenbrier Valley Economic Development, Region 1 Workforce, Greenbrier County's Local Emergency Planning Committee. She has been the point person to work with Matt Ford on the Meadow River Trail project, which the first phase was completed this past fall, and we hope to have the opening of the 2nd phase into Rainell within the next year.
So, Tommy. Thank you all for letting us be here tonight to speak on behalf of Tammy. Tammy is currently not only the president of the Greenbrier County Commission, she is also the president of the State Commission, Greenbrier County Commissioners of the state. She is also on the board of the directors of the National Association of County Commissioners. She's taken this job very active and been very active in all these different boards. She has done more in that part of our job than any commissioner I've ever known. Together, we've worked on projects for the future and development of economic growth in the whole county. Some of those include the county-wide board broadband project, the extension of water lines, Rainell to Fort Charmco that we're currently working on, Sam Black to Asbury, and the Meadow River Trail, as Blaine mentioned, the courthouse room and the health department, we're both renovating and adding additions on both of those. All those projects are going at this time. I've been in commission now for 16 years. I'm in my 3rd term. I've worked with 7 different commissioners. In my years of commission, she is undoubtedly the most active and hardest working of all of those commissioners. And I would just like to comment that the county doesn't want to lose someone with her dedication, work ethic. She comes in, she works, and she's confident. And we appreciate your support and vote. Thank you.
Another candidate for Greenbrier County Commission for the Republican nomination, Mr. Bobby Ford.
Thank you. First off, I want to say this is completely different from anything I've ever done. I am not a politician. I grew up in Ansted. My grandparents were from Dawson. I lived over for over 30 years. I worked as a machinist at Union Carbide, ABB, roof boulder operator, Red River Coal Company for 15 years. General contractor in Virginia and West Virginia, electrician. I trained in Raleigh County as a building inspector. 12 years ago, I come to Greenbrier County as building code official. Worked here for 12 years. I retired at the end of November. And right now, I'm just listening to people and taking notes and seeing what we need to do. And I'd like to help people of Greenbrier County be conservative voice for the people and help law enforcement. They need some help. And get some infrastructure out here on the west end, get some development out here. Development will come without the infrastructure first. So basically, that's why I'm at. Thank you.
Okay. Now we move to delegate.
Hmm?
Now we move to delegate. Okay, I'm gonna start with the 46th district. In case folks are unfamiliar, and it is confusing, the best way to think of the split in Greenbrier County is this. You are east of 219, you are in the 46th district. Or if you are in southern Pocahontas County, you are also in the 46th district. If you are anything west of 219, and a little tiny sliver of Summers County side of Alderson, you are in the 47th district. I'm going to start with the 46th district. Now, one of the reasons why I said at the beginning we are not to talk about our opponents is because this is where it usually gets heated, are these kind of partisan elections. So a reminder, please do not speak about your opponents. In addition, one of them, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Jeff Campbell, could not be here tonight because it's the middle of the legislative session. So it is just simply not fair to talk about our opponents tonight. But I will start with the 46th district for delegate. Running is Trey Ewing.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. I think most of y'all already know me. But of course, if you don't, I'll start out. I'm actually the former vice chair of this committee. I now serve as their elected representative for the 10th Senate District on the State Republican Executive Committee. I'm also on the board of directors of the Greenbrier Pregnancy Center. I don't know if y'all have heard about that yet, but it's a new nonprofit that's going to be operating in this area. It's a really good thing. It may be trying to get with Paula, but I think you can speak to it some and answer questions afterwards. I'd highly recommend if you're interested in speaking to Paula about that. Because at the end of the day, while I'm running, one of the big things is I'm pro-life, and I think it's a really big issue. Of course, it's the legislative race. It's some of the more really controversial issues. I'm very pro-life. I'm pro-Second Amendment. Believe America first. And really, if you don't know my background, I've been a very strong fighter for that for the past few years. I've really tried to do everything I can. That's why I decided to run. I believe that these are some of the key issues to be addressed. Of course, a lot of others as well. The opioid epidemic here in this part of the county. The same where I'm from at 92. I mean, that we got to do something to support the people there. I've been talking with some people even over here, even though it's not my district. I believe that's something else that needs to be addressed. Law enforcement as well. We need to support them. We support our fire departments. And really, we need to get with meetings like this. So get with people that are true good conservatives that are going to really, they understand the real thing that will fix our country. And I've been telling this to people at the events I had. The real thing that's going to fix our country is the gospel. It's true with anything. Biblical values, that's what I stand for. If you agree with me, I appreciate your support if you do. I've been endorsed by the former delegate Barry Bruce, West Virginia Federation of Young Republicans, and a few others that I can't quite speak about yet, but I believe that I'm the more conservative choice. It's up to you all, the voters, what you think the Republican Party is in the primary, where your values line up. Biblical values, and really, I think that's about it. I appreciate y'all coming out. Thank you.
Another candidate for the 46th District Delegate, Mr. Thomas Perkins.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Thomas Perkins. I'm currently running for District 46 of the West Virginia House of Delegates, which represents eastern Greenbrier and southern Pocahontas counties. I'm running for juvenile justice reform. I was in the state's custody as a child. I spent 2 years in the state's custody where I was more or less abused. And the problem that we're dealing with here in West Virginia, as many of you know, is the opioid epidemic. So they have pumped the pharmaceutical industry drugs into our state, poisoning everybody. But the battle is not over. The real crisis is inside the juvenile justice system, which is shielded by HIPAA protection laws, and it is shielded by the juvenile justice system itself. The media is not allowed to talk about the juvenile justice system. They're not allowed to talk about children, but our children are being poisoned by the pharmaceutical industry. So that is one of the reasons that I am running the West Virginia House of Delegates, is because I want to bring attention to this ongoing epidemic that has been going on for more than a decade. I was in the state's custody in 2001, and since then, the drug epidemic in West Virginia has unfolded. Since then, pharmaceuticals prescribed to children have gone up more than 200%. And we're seeing these children come out of the public school system not knowing how to handle or deal with their emotions, and that's because they have been so doped up on Zoloft their entire childhood. It's a huge problem. They never learn to cope with their emotions. They never learn how to develop relationships, and this is a huge ongoing issue. But with that being said, my name's Thomas Perkins. My campaign website is thomasforoffice.com, and I'd appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Now to the 47th District. This is where we currently are in Rupert, West Virginia. I'm going to start with former Delegate George Boogie Ambler.
Thank you for being here tonight and listening. And this is kind of a homecoming for me. This is where in 2012 I started my political career, right here in Rupert, West Virginia. So tonight is kind of a rebirth for me and my wife to come back out after 6 years of being out of office. I am, and I do, want to be your representative in the 47th District. I went to Charleston in 2013. Went in as a part of minority. We became the majority. We have moved West Virginia through policies that I helped institute when I was down there. I have been credited with saying that do what you say and then do it, okay? If you're telling someone to do it, do it. Don't back out at the last minute. And I think that's where my reputation in the House of Delegates was built on. If I said I would do that, I did that. At the committee chairman, our House Speaker, fellow delegates, and most importantly, you, the people, when you brought an issue to me, I did my best to take care of it for you to the best that we could do under the circumstances. We are in a crisis mode in the 47th District. We are in a crisis mode. We've lost Allegheny wood products. We've got to do something to bring some industry back in. Infrastructure has to be done, that's true. But we, as on the delegate level, we can help push the Appalachian Regional Council and to help bring money here. We can work with your county commission. We can work with the mayors and bring to you. I will do that. I did that for 6 years. I'm more than willing to do it again. I am happy to be out here again on the campaign trail. I love doing this, and I'm asking you to support me in May 14th in the primary. Again, I stress to you one thing. I want to be your delegate. I want the opportunity to represent you in Charleston. And the only way I can do that is you find my name, George Boogie Ambler, on that ballot, mark it, and I tell you one thing. The world is just whatever we want it to be at that point. If you don't look and strive for a high point, you'll never reach it. We may only get to anthills, but we're going to get to something. And so, if you would, please, keep me in mind on voting. George Boogie Ambler. And again, I stress to you, I want to be your delegate. I want that job. Thank you very much.
First time in my life I'm speechless. Another candidate for the 47th District is Mr. Stephen Snyder.
Hey folks, many of you know, some don't. Here's the bottom line. I'm not a politician. Didn't ever think I'd be here. Many times in my life, I told somebody, if I ever became a politician, just shoot me in the back of the head, please. I would ask you to retract that if I was you personally. This is pretty cold and simple. I have a brain and a spine, and I'm willing to use them both for the people of the 47th District and for the people of West Virginia. I will not sell my soul to the devil for special interest in the form of a political action committee or special interest money that's trying to affect West Virginia. Result from the 1800s coming forward with timber industries, coal industries, and everybody else that took what they wanted and left our people worse off. My son's middle name, Cole Snyder, his name is Morgan Snyder. It is not by accident, okay? Morgan, considered the first West settler in West Virginia. That's how far back my family tree goes. But I've had people in Greenbrier County said, you're not from here. You're right, I'm not from here. But don't ever worry about my commitment to serve West Virginia. There are 3 times that adult men in West Virginia can cry. You can do it in church, you can do it at the national anthem, you can sing it, or you can do it when John Denver sings Country Roads, okay? So, just because somebody's been somewhere before doesn't mean that you're competent at it. Sorry, retract that. I didn't mean that. That didn't come out well. I'm a quick study. I know what I'm doing. Don't discount me if you think I don't know about economic development, transportation, our schools and our educators, what our state police need, what our DNR officers need, what it takes to bring new ideas to West Virginia. Look at the governor's uncrewed aircraft systems advisory committee and look at the people on that board. That didn't happen by accident. I've been very active behind the scenes helping legislators form legislation that makes sense, that isn't preempted 8 ways to Sunday by federal law. It is not a good thing to make stupid legislation that preempts or that is preempted by federal legislation. Why back up? We need to do it. We need to do it smart. We don't need to recreate the wheel just to recreate the wheel or to say, oh, it's a new idea. Let's take a look. Let's keep what we have that are good legislative issues and let's vet the others and not. Supermajority is a dangerous thing. I'm standing here in front of Republicans, but ladies and gentlemen, as Republicans, we have to know that just like the Democrats did to us for many years, you can jam anything through with a supermajority, whether it makes sense or not. We have to hold ourselves accountable. I was a military person for 20 years plus. I was a Coast Guard member. I was enlisted for 8, an officer for 12. You know what? This is about service. I never in my life went anywhere and pulled somebody out of the water with the hook in the middle of the night with a helicopter where they got to the door and I asked for a favor in return. That's not the way it works. This is about service. This is not about self-service. Thank you, Ben.
Finally, I'm going to ask another candidate for 47th House District, former Delegate Ray Canterbury, to speak.
Thank you. Well, it has been a while since I last served, but I think that my record still speaks clearly to my positions on certain very important issues. For example, when I was in the state legislature, I was a very strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I sponsored legislation that was pro-gun, and in 2016, when West Virginia ran the constitutional carry bill, I voted for that. I supported it. West Virginia became at that time only the 8th state to have adopted that law. Since that time, 19 other states have adopted constitutional carry, in many cases reducing their crime rates, proving that if the government really wants you to be safe, that they can start by giving you the right to protect yourself. I also was a defender of the unborn. I also supported school choice, including your right to homeschool your children. And I believe in the First Amendment. The left wing in this country believes in censorship. I think, in fact, if they could, they would criminalize your opinion if they could. But I believe in your right to speak for yourself. I think you have to say what you mean so that you can mean what you say, and you should not be sanctioned for speaking the truth. It should never be illegal to say that a grown man should not share a bathroom with a little girl.
Right.
Now, all that said, when I was in the legislature, I focused mostly on economic and fiscal policy. One of my colleagues actually thought I was an economist. I had to correct him. No, I have an undergraduate degree in mathematics and a master's in business administration. But while the state of West Virginia is making some great progress and becoming very pro-business, including the fact that recently some national media outlets have said that we have one of the best business climates in the country, the fact is we have some weakness. We have the second lowest per capita income in the country, but do you know we also have the second lowest per capita income and the fourth highest public debt to GDP ratio. And all of that debt is supported by an economy that, while it might be growing, has weakness, such as the fact that we have an aging population and very low workforce participation. We have to address that aggressively, because economic weakness means that we lose our sovereignty to some very large extent. Because when we go in and we work with bondholders, they actually dictate the fiscal conditions of our deals. And in the future, as ESG becomes a bigger factor on Wall Street, we will be compelled through various stipulations to pursue economic policies that are not in our interest and that are not in the interest of the people of West Virginia. So we have to strengthen our economy, lower our debt load, and we need legislators that will stand up to anybody that attacks our industries, attacks your rights, and if the government of the United States government overreaches, we have to be willing to tell them to take a long walk off a short plank, and we need to have the economic strength to give them a good solid shove. Now, when I was in the legislature, I had to fight some uphill battles. When I was first elected, we were outnumbered 3-1. But we fought hard to eliminate the food tax. We've eliminated that. Believe me, the Democrats did it because we pushed him. He's going to clam me down. Okay, thank you.
Give everybody another round of applause.
Next Thursday, it's March 7th, the Republican Club is having, at their meeting, we're having Derek Evans, who is a former House of Delegates member, but he is running for county Congress. He was in prison as a J6 participant. And if you want to hear the real story, then you want to come Thursday and listen to his presentation and probably answer questions. If you all are interested in being here, you should be interested in being at the Old Stone Presbyterian Church, the lower room is where we meet at 6:30. So if you're interested, please do come. You're all welcome.
First of all, our next meeting, official meeting, which will be more business related, will be March 19th, 2024. That's Tuesday. Location to be determined. We will be setting up further town halls across this county over the next couple months. But thank you all once again for coming out tonight. We as a committee appreciate the involvement. We want more community involvement. And to Ms. Pendleton's point, you don't have to be up here to speak at our meetings. This is open to all, and we are appreciative that you all are here. Is there a motion to adjourn? Danny moves, Sharon seconds. All in favor say aye.